Hello, everybody. Welcome to our ABM Daily Catch-Up, where we talk about all things remote work and how the world around us is changing and what we are doing on a day-to-day basis to manage our ever-changing environment. On the line, we've got Greg Clark, CEO of ABM Systems, Tim Rosser, COO of ABM Systems, and Lindy Miller, FP&A Practice Lead. So we've got all the big titles in the room today. How's it going, everybody?
Very good.
Good, thank you.
Cool. Lindy, we started a conversation around accountability and communication, and you asked some really good questions in that space. I don't know if you want to maybe just give us a bit of a run through. What are those challenges we're looking at?
Yeah, I think, when we initially had the conversation, it was really around thinking, we as ABM have been assisting our clients particularly in the same challenges that we're going through today. Digitizing, having your workforce and your data centralized. So I think that, and at that point, I think it became relevant that we ourselves were not 100% ready for this COVID-19 world, and I think we've changed a lot of what we do internally. And I thought it might be a good opportunity to just talk to Tim and Greg about, as ABM, what have we gone through in terms of the challenges around remote workforce, remote clients, and a bit of a disconnected space given the challenges we're facing with this current COVID-19 outbreak. So Tim, I think for me personally, I wanted to just maybe ask you, as the COO of ABM Systems, what have you changed in the way that you run operations for us from an internal perspective?
Yeah, well, to some extent, it's the same kind of challenges. How do you know somebody's doing their work and not just goofing off on Facebook? But it's a whole new dimension when people are remote. But I think being remote has an advantage in that people aren't offended when you check in with them and ask them what they've been doing, because you're not in the office with them. It's not obvious. And they kind of want the validation that somebody's asking them what they've been up to, acknowledging the stuff they have achieved. So some of the same management techniques apply in both cases. You want to give people clear goals, timeframes, instructions, give them a mission, give them some autonomy. And that's important to a lot of people. And this way they have more autonomy. So you need to give them the recognition. But also we need to use the tools a whole lot more. So we're using online systems like our CRM to see where people are logging work in the Salesforce. We've got dashboards in BI tools, so we can manage the business that way. And we've got Microsoft Teams with our task lists there, where we can assign tasks and tick them off and just see how everything's tracking. So that technology becomes, I think, a little more important when people are not in the same room.
Thank you. Yes, I think you've touched on something that I wanted to maybe ask Greg about a bit. It's having that team connectivity in the way that we manage communication. I think setting, as the leadership of IBM, setting the direction, keeping the eye on our strategy, making sure that we all understand, that we're sailing the ship in a certain direction, and we're still managing towards achieving certain outcomes and goals. So I think, Greg, from your side, how have you been communicating and taking leadership in this space, given the challenges that we're facing?
Thanks, Lindy. I think, as Tim says, in some ways, some things haven't changed. So there was always a need to check in with people, often in different locations and different time zones, via communication tools like Teams or WebEx or others, to see what was going on and to be able to share content and so on. I think the thing that's changed now is I've got to do that with everyone. So it's a situation where one needs to invest some time having a chat via whatever mechanism, telephone included. And one of the things that's a little bit different now is to be able to do those whilst going for a walk through the park and having some exercises. I think most people know these days you've got background noise. I've got 3 children at home, so you can have background noise going on. I've got 3 construction sites around me. So sometimes a walk through the park on the phone is kind of the easiest way to stay in touch with people. And I know listening to staff in particular, that they've often got similar sorts of disruptions going on in their workplace that wouldn't always be the case. So I think, that's been a significant change. And I think also to being able to run more and more sort of collaborative meetings in teams has been something where we're able to connect in with one another. And a bit of a highlight, I think, of the week is the way in which our head of BI has set up a whole company meeting where everybody gets to chime in and talk a little bit about their week and share their funny face for just a late Friday afternoon shared bit of socialisation, which may involve a quick drink.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm enjoying the virtual drinks. I think I realised as well that when you had your first State of the Nation address, that this is going to be different for us in the way that you will be communicating. So I think we've embraced it, and part of that, IBM taking ownership of what we need to do in terms of our leadership and the way we communicate and we manage our team has been Hein's involvement in implementing these technologies internally. I think it's a little bit of the shoemaker's shoes. Internally we haven't optimized it to the extent we should have or could have in the past, and I think Hein has really stepped into that space. Hein, can you maybe just share a little bit about what we've done, how we've implemented different applications and how we've enhanced our ability to run our business in this challenging time?
Thanks, Lindy. Yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey. We've put the cart before the horse almost in the way we've implemented it now, and I think many organizations have this challenge, is that we had legacy processes with whether it be a file share or a SharePoint on-premise, whatever the case might be. And typically what you'd want to do is first get your existing infrastructure to the cloud and then start embracing the new stuff like Teams and Planner. What we've now done to effectively operationalize our team and get everybody agile is we've implemented the collaborative features of Teams first. So we've gone the chat stuff, we've done the online meetings quite successfully. And we've now also started rolling out Planner, whether it be on the sales side or from a project side, to have these daily stand-ups, which I think is interesting in the way we've changed the way, or we're busy changing the way we're looking at this across the company, in that everything's going that agile approach. Now, we're quite lucky in the fact that we are, from a technology perspective, quite used to the agile manner. I think most of our consultants have been doing it already. Going forward, we are now, migrating our intranet to Office 365. We're going to start looking at tools like Microsoft Yammer from a more community perspective. So we had a conversation in one of the BI daily or weekly stand-ups where one of the guys had some trouble with some cooking recipes. So that's a great example, right, where it's not necessarily something that should be in a team. It's not an operational discussion. But it's something, it can be the cooking community in ABM. So I think the Microsoft platform leans itself quite nicely to addressing all of these issues. But as a primary focus, it's been around teamwork and just, that accountability aspect of saying, here's what I've done, here's what I need to do today. And even from a personal perspective, looking back and saying, all right, well, I've checked these things off the list. It gives you that sense of I've done something today, which I think is important from an employee and from a personal perspective, because otherwise people are going to get into a rut where it's just you don't know what you've done, and that can be very disheartening.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I think that covers what we wanted to discuss today, and I think we'll keep enhancing this.
Cool. Great stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.